Hi everyone, it's Lavinia and welcome to Inktober 2025. We are at day 20. I am following along with the Inktober Zentangle challenge, and today's Zentangle is called Kangular, and it's a combination of the words kangaroo, angular, and modular. So this itself is the piece, and then you can keep adding to it. You can flip it around, sort of like Middleton. So this is Kangular, and then this is blooming Kangular. So it's, rather than having it go as a straight border, it's piece by piece. So I am going to be drawing it on the bijou tile. I think I'm going to draw the regular Kangular, since that is the actual Zentangle, and that's what I prefer to do on the bijou tile, and I don't add any additional color. It's just the black ink. And so this is day 20, October 20th, 2025, and I like to put a little note, and to me this Zentangle is a little bit tricky, so that's why I put that there. So I will be drawing it here. And then I thought with my purple micron PN, maybe I will draw the blooming Kangular on here. So that will have the color. And then naturally I will be adding it somewhere on this compilation page. We'll see. It might be the blooming one, I think, since I already have a couple of border ones, but we'll see once we get there. So I think I'm going to start first here on the bijou tile, and I am going to be using several different ink pens. These are the Master's Touch. I am going to also use my pencil, I think, to draw it out first, because there is going to be those auras, and I just want to make sure that they're somewhat symmetrical. So I have a couple of I have a 4B, a 2B. I have my gum eraser that I'm going to use. So let's go ahead and get started and break this down. Okay, so I'm going to use this as a reference and show this on the screen. So the first step we're going to do is draw this V. So I'm just turning the page just so it's comfortable for me. And maybe what I'll do is I will draw the string. So a string is just an outline. It doesn't have to be straight lines. But I will just put that in, and I may ink it in. So let's go ahead and start with that V. So here's this first V. Now we're going to go ahead and give it that aura. I want that to come up a little. So here's the aura. And now we're going to come down with this line. And if you wanted to add a line here where maybe you want these points to go to, and you can make it wavy also, you can of course go ahead and do that. So that's just something else that you can do if you wanted to. Okay, so we've come down here, and now we are going to aura this line. You can make it as thick or as thin as you'd like. All right, and so we have this line, so we're going to come up, get that V, and then give it its matching aura. Okay, and then we're just going to see where that would end over there. So we have this going on. All right, let me go ahead and erase this so it doesn't confuse. So right now this is what we have. All right, so now we are going to add this V, this upside down V in this particular case over here. So I'm going to come up. I want to go just a little bit above where these lines are, and then come down. And let me go ahead again. You could, if you wanted to, again, leave that line, but I'm going to come down. I think probably over here. I might fix that. Maybe I'll have it go this way. And then come back up. And then come back down. Actually, I think I'm going to come lower. Let me again erase that so it doesn't get confusing. Okay, so this is what we have right now, and maybe I'll go ahead and I'll start inking that in so it just makes a little bit clearer as to what we've done. So we started out with this first set of V's and then the aura. This aura line. And then we started to add these V's. Like that. Okay. All right, and now the next step we're going to do is connect here, from here to here, and then here to here. So if it's easier for you to flip it and maybe see as if it continues through that triangle and comes that way, you can go ahead and do that, and then we're going to ink that in. So I have here my brush pen. I think I'm going to use that. Okay. And then we're just going to continue. So here, if you have that pencil line, it's already really filled in for you. So I'm going to bring this down just a little bit further so it connects there. And then you're just going to ink that in. And as you do these, you are going to decide which Zentangles you prefer over, let's say, others. So this one I might want to bring just a little bit higher. And again, coming across. Now this is just a little bit lower, but it is what it is. I'm going to come down there. Although I guess I could bring this up if I wanted to. Okay, and then here's that start of the other one. So again, pencil line might be helpful, and there might be just a little bit of that over there. This probably could have come up this way to have that space, and then there would be this. But as Maria and Rick say, there are no mistakes in Zentangle. So we are not going to worry about anything. Okay, and then probably there would be an aura line here. Like that, and then there would probably be a little bit of that triangle there. So, but that is that. And then what you can do is then start putting in some other aura lines. So for example, coming down here, maybe that comes down here, and then you can start making, you know, other designs out of that. So this might come down here, maybe there's one here. You could put orbs. I mean, that's kind of like my favorite other little piece. So just go ahead and add what you'd like. Maybe I might put some orbs in here. Like that. This has to be filled in. Like that. Okay. So that is Kangular, and like I said, it is a little bit tricky for me anyway. But on the calendar, let's go ahead and draw the blooming Kangular. You might prefer perhaps this one better. So I'm going to grab my Micron PN pen. And so for this one here, I'll start off in pencil, is just drawing one of those V's. So it'll be this V shape. Then giving it that aura. Making that V. Giving it that aura. The other side of that. Okay. And that's kind of why it reminds me a little bit of Tripoli. So we have that V. That might be a little bit too wide. I don't know, for some reason that just wants to be a wide. Maybe I need to turn the page. Okay. That, and then this will come down here. So we have this sort of star shape. And then the next thing we're going to do again is just add these upside down V's. Let's go just a little bit taller, but I could always erase those lines if anything. I'm making them a little bit curved, and that's okay. Okay, so that is it. And then I'm just going to add where I think I would want that circle, and then just a couple little flicks inside those petal shapes. So let's ink this in. There's that aura. Oops. I think my preference is the blooming Kangular. I prefer it to be a little bit organic rather than, I don't know, those straight lines. Then I'm going to add this circle here. And then the same thing we had done in the regular Kangular is just going ahead and meeting up these lines and then inking them in. So if you give this a try, let me know what you think of this particular Zentangle. I think drawing it in pencil first helps me anyway with this particular. So I'm going to write here, blooming Kangular. So that is that one. And then here on the compilation page, let's see. I think this would be fun to have a few, especially if I've got spots, to put them in different places. So I think I'm going to go ahead and add it here. So trying to decide. Yeah, let's go ahead and just add it here. We can make a small one just to fill up this area. And I hope seeing it at least 2 and sometimes 3 times, if that is helpful for you. I know it helps me because by just repeating the pattern, I think it helps me. I'm going to make these lines just a little bit longer, and I can fix that. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay. So just going to go ahead and grab my pen, my ink pen. This is the 0.3. Though that might be too thin. So I'm going to go back to the 1.0. I can make it just a tad bit bigger. And if I need to fix it, this is the time to do it. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to be going off the page there. But I just wanted to change it up. Now this has 5, but you know what? Let's see what it looks like. So I'm adding those V's. This one's going to be a little bit larger and go behind, maybe like that. A little bit wonky, but we are not worrying about it. All right, so from here, we're going to go across as if it's behind, and then just ink it in. Just going to turn that around, come across here, and ink this one in. I might give this an aura also, since it's just a small little tangle here. But this is one I think that I can use to add it again in different spots in the drawing. And if there are mistakes, you know what? With all of this, no one's really, I'm going to probably be the only one that knows where maybe I made a mistake. Okay, so that's the first. I'm going to go ahead and add a center here. And what I'm going to do is add a couple of little flicks. So I'm just putting down my pen and then just giving it a light little push. It almost reminds me of almost like a poinsettia. So just like that. And I think that gives it some extra little detail there. And I may go ahead and just add a few more. I think I'm going to make that just a little bit wider. And actually I like that. It's not symmetrical, and that's fine with me. Like I said, nothing in my life is symmetrical. But I may continue maybe putting one behind here and maybe another one here or here. But that is it for today's video. So again, this, I will probably go ahead and ink this in. This is Kangular. And this is what it looks like if you want to do it as a border, and then just adding some designs in there. And this is the blooming Kangular. Right here, and then here on the calendar. So let me know what you think, and if you give it a try, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.